Good evening, Gills fans, and welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It is Monday review time as I look back at Saturday's 1-1 draw in the FA Cup at the Stadium of Light with Sunderland. First of all, fair play to the 150 plus Gills fans that travelled all the way up to the Stadium of Light. Had to leave in what seemed like the middle of the night. I think 4:30 the first coach was picking up for a 1 o'clock kickoff due to Newcastle being at home on the same day, and it's great for them fans to be rewarded for a long journey up and back with a really creditable 1-1 draw. I tweeted immediately after the game something along the lines of to put into perspective how good a result it was, and there was a list of Sunderland's last 12 home games previously to that, going all the way back to last April into last season. Hadn't lost, I think they'd lost one, which was on Tuesday of last week in the EFL trophy. But yeah, apart from that, I think they'd won 8, drawn 3 and lost a solitary game. So an excellent draw for the boys. Seems like it was a really, really good performance as well. Looking at the stats in Monday's edition of the Medway Messenger, we had more shots on target, more shots off target, only 2 less corners. I think Sunderland had about 58% possession and we had 42, but that's understandable. If you're on a away side going to a team with better players on paper, bigger budget, you're expecting them to have more of the ball. You're going to try and soak up pressure, play on the break. And it seems that we set up with a game plan and followed it immaculately. And I know Steve Evans come out after the game and said that he was disappointed we'd not won it. That's a good sign for me. I mean, I listened to his interview and Ollie Lee's interview, and I think Ollie sort of reiterated what the boss was saying, and that was that they felt we'd done enough to win the football match, not just draw it. It seems both sides had good chances to win the game. I think Luke O'Nien was inches away from getting on the end of a cross, and at the other end, Ollie Lee, who scored our equaliser, albeit with a huge slice of luck because home keeper John McLaughlin decided to chuck it in his own net. It was millimetres away from getting on the end of a Brandon Hanlon cross, and talking in the paper, he says he should have got there really, and it ended up going through his legs and he couldn't sort his feet out. But talking about Ollie Lee, great to see him back in the side and doing well. He's one of those 3 players that I keep mentioning, him, Ben Pringle and Mark Marshall, that probably came with the highest amount of pedigree in the summer, and I don't think any of the 3 of them have reached the heights we know they are capable of, but by all accounts it seems that Ollie was very impressive at the weekend and deserved his equaliser. And there's been a few tweets going about that it was a good weekend for the Lee family because Ollie scored against Sunderland and his father Rob, ex-England midfielder, was inducted into the Newcastle United Hall of Fame a couple of days previously. So all in all, not a bad weekend for them. And a decent performance against a side that will end up at the top end of League One this season, regardless of the fact that they've sacked their manager recently and their current indifferent form. As I say, their home form prior to Saturday was 1 defeat in 12. So to go up there and match them and go toe-to-toe with them and create more chances than them invariably shows what a good performance it was, and shows that we do have good players and that we can compete with what the best in this division has to offer. Another player as well, just want to quickly mention, who I've seen tonight was part of the Kent Online team of the week, which is the best players in the county from the previous round of games, and that was Connor Ogilvie. And it's great to hear that he was pretty much flawless at the weekend alongside Max Amer at the heart of defence, because he had a bit of a shocker last Saturday against Rotherham, gave away a penalty, was partly to blame for another goal in a 3-0 defeat. So great to see Connor swiftly back to his best and doing what he's pretty much been doing all season. The FA Cup second round draw has just taken place shortly. A short while ago this evening, about 25 minutes ago at the time of recording, and it's pretty boring, unfortunately. If we beat Sunderland in our replay next week, we will then host either League One Doncaster or League One AFC Wimbledon, depending on the outcome of their replay as well. So a little bit frustrating because you want to get someone either very winnable at home or local at home or an away game that would be decent, so maybe a ground that you've not travelled to before. But unfortunately for the second round running, we're going to play a team that's in our division, which is a little bit boring and a little bit underwhelming, but such is life. If we can get through the Sunderland replay, it then gives us a chance of reaching the third round, because we're 90 minutes away and one big win away from when the big boys come into the competition. And obviously after last season's run where we beat Cardiff and then went to Swansea, it would be a pretty huge incentive. So that's the way we have to look at it, despite it being a little bit, yeah. But yeah, before then, obviously, we've got a lot of football to play. We have a game tomorrow night, so we'll have a quick look ahead to that in a second. But obviously, we have a league game on Saturday as well, before the replay with Sunderland. And then we travel to Wimbledon away Saturday week. So it could invariably mean that if we win our replay and Wimbledon win their replay, we'll have to play them twice in 7 days, which is not the greatest fun in the world, I'm sure, for either set of fans, but it is what it is. But like I say, we've got a game tomorrow night as we host this team. Tottenham Hotspur, but obviously not in their familiar guise. It will be their under-23 side as we end our campaign in the Leasings.com trophy with our final round robin match. We cannot progress from the group stage after already being beaten 3-2 at home to Colchester and 4-0 away to Ipswich. I'm sure Steve Evans will make plenty of changes and we will see those that need minutes getting minutes. So I'd imagine the likes of Jack Walsh, Joe Walsh, Jack Tucker, Bradley Garmston, Usainu Cisse, Ben Pringle, Mark Marshall, Mikael and Jolly, Alex Jakubiak will probably feature. I think Henry Woods is back from his loan spell at Concord Rangers now, so he might get some more game time after making his debut in the last game in this competition against Ipswich. I may be going along, I'm not sure yet, it depends on the weather. But yeah, I think it'll be used as an exercise, like I say, to get game time into the legs of those that need it and have not been playing as regularly as they'd wish. As I've said before, we need a whole squad available, and you want people to come into the team for league games and hit the ground running if needed. You don't want them to be sat cold on the bench or in the stands every week and not getting any game time at all. Lee Hodson might be another one that comes into contention to start as well. So yeah, I think it'll be a much changed team against the Spurs youngsters. This is the Spurs youngsters that thumped us 4-0 at the Valley last season when we had to play a home game at Charlton's ground because our pitch was being relayed. Not going to do a score prediction because obviously it's tricky to gauge. I don't know much about Tottenham's under-23s, and I'm not sure entirely what sort of team we'll pick and put out onto the pitch come 7 p.m. tomorrow because it is an early kickoff. Yeah, that's pretty much me done this evening, not too long. Yeah, just to round up, like I say, decent performance at the weekend, very decent result. Maybe could have won it, which is a good sign. One step at a time. Obviously, we've got 2 games before the FA Cup comes back into view with this EFL Trophy game and then the league game at home to Lincoln at the weekend. Then if we can get through Sunderland, we'll have to start thinking about one of the other 2. But obviously, there's plenty of days and plenty of football between now and then. So lots of work to be done. We do need to start picking up more victories in the league and improve our form in that, because obviously that is our bread and butter and what the majority of the season revolves around, of course. Right, that is enough from me this evening. As always, thanks for watching and thanks for listening. Go and find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. There is a rumour that the podcast may be making its anticipated return. I've seen a couple of tweets from Mrs. Boz and Stocky over the last few hours, so keep your eyes peeled for that. We are available on Spotify, iTunes and all other platforms. And until next time, up the Gills.